Welcome to Techturks. Today I have Modupe of Salt. Salt is a culinary company that makes fantastic stuff. Modupe, thanks for coming on to Techturks. So first question, why salt?
That's one of the major questions people ask, and I think mostly because we do pastries. But what is interesting, if I must say, is that in pastry, actually, even though most desserts and cakes are sweet, you actually have to add salt because it helps with the balance of things. People don't realize this, but it's something. But why salt? So when I finished culinary school in Paris, I sat down in my apartment and I kept wondering, okay, so what am I going to do now that I finished? And I remember...
Can I call it short? I know that when I was growing up, my parents wanted me to be either a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I'm a lawyer. So I studied law first.
Yes.
I actually studied law. I have a master's degree in law from Nottingham.
So why did you do law and go through all that?
So, like growing up, I was watching Ali McBeal and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be what it's like. Yeah. And then I come to Nigeria and courts are on strike and the judge is not sitting and I'm just like, oh my God. So I practiced law for like 5 years and I hated it. I used to think about food all the time. Like I literally would sit down thinking, what am I going to eat for dinner? Yeah. Okay, so I'll start planning what I'm going to eat. And actually while I was studying and practicing, while I was even in school, I used to cook for people. Funny enough, my friend a few weeks ago just sent me an email that we had created while I was in Nottingham. We called it the Dynamic Duo Food Services. And we used to cook for people, so it had always been in me. But after a while, I just thought, no, I can't do this anymore. I'm not fulfilled. I don't feel like this is what I'm meant to do. So I had the conversation with my dad, who's a senior advocate. In fact, I was ready to fight him. Okay. But he's like, look, I've reached the pinnacle of my career. If this is what you want to do, if I have to sell anything, I will sell it for you to go to the best school. I said, I want to go to culinary school. It's in Paris. He's like, no problem, And then the day I was traveling, I think he clicked. He's like, so you want to go and be a caterer? I'm like, not caterer, But the funny thing is, once I graduated, on the day of graduation, I literally had to be begging people for tickets because my dad brought like 20 people to Paris from Nigeria. But so now he's proud because judges call him and say, oh, we want to order cake for your daughter. They say she's fully booked. And then he's like, why can't you do this person's cake? And then I'm stuck. So I tell my staff, if somebody calls, I'm like, this person has called. You better take our order. If not, daddy's going to call. So, now he's very proud of what we're doing. So
I've been to your website and I've ordered. The cheesecake was very good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
How did you get that customer base that you have now? How did you create that awareness?
They started with making a cake for someone. But as I said, while I was practicing law, I'd been making cakes for some people. So when I came back, they're like, okay, so I made cake for somebody. And then it now became like word of mouth. Yeah. And then we created an Instagram page and everybody's like, oh my God, I want this. And because of that, I had to sit down. I had to start creating new ideas. They didn't teach me how to bake cakes in Cordon Bleu because they don't do cakes. Yeah. They are more French pastry. Yeah. So I had to teach myself how to bake cakes. And then it's just honestly word of mouth, Instagram, and most importantly, it's just grace, grace of God, because it just blew.
For your business, for business continuity, so what's your plan to ensure that you have that sustainability, that you have people that can do it, that you also because I think food is a great experience. If somebody talks to you about how it was made, why it was made, and all those things. So it's a sense of eating as a function. Eating becomes an experience. In Nigeria, we just eat. Okay, let's eat and let's move on.
The culinary world has advanced immensely. So what happens is that you need to keep training. So I always go for training. It's just because of COVID. If not for COVID, I'm sure I'd have gone somewhere. So you have to keep improving. Even my staff, it got to a point where I'm like, look, I don't do the decorating in this thing. So I had to take my staff. I would take them to wherever they need to go so that we could, train. And so I think it's just, you have to keep learning. If you don't keep learning, you'll be stuck in the past. So cakes that sometimes when customers go through our Instagram page and they send me cake designs from 2015, I'm like, and that this is what they want. I'm like, nobody does this anymore. I can't do it. They're like, oh, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do this because, you know, it's way in the past. But what is important is that technique that you have learned, because you can apply it to everything. Do
you intend to expand? Are you happy with what you're doing? You know, there's also wahala in expanding in a country like Nigeria too, so it's a balancing act.
I'm expanding, but you don't see it. Yeah. So I started in my mom's kitchen and my dad's dining table. And my dad had just bought this dining that I was so proud of. And then I'll be decorating cake on it. So he'll come back from work, just look at the dining and just go upstairs, because he's just like, I cannot deal.
Just ignore, please, before.
So my mom is like, you cannot take over my kitchen. She moved me to the garage and they created this. I said, oh, because coming from Paris, you literally needed a small, tiny space for pastry. So I said, I just need a small space. My mom's like, no. So they made a small space. Before I knew it, less than a year, it was too small. So they had to break it down, expand it. I was there for 5 years. And then, lucky for me, my next door to my parents' house became available. We rented it. And we just moved in 2019, I think. So obviously we expanded, but people, you know, wouldn't really know. Our staff strength has increased tremendously. But the problem is, the more you expand, the more your demand.
So that means that the product is doing well.
So you keep expanding. And I know that for every year, like I gauge with Valentine's Day, for instance, last year we did the most cakes that we've ever done, and I never thought we'd be able to pull it off, but we did. So it always goes like that. You know, you buy a new oven, before you know it, there's no space. You buy more baking pans, we don't have baking pans. I'm thinking, but we just bought, you know. So
this passion becomes now.
You know, one has to be careful. You have to still be able to balance that exclusivity and the great taste, because once you start making, with recipes, once you start doubling and making it too much, you begin to lose something. Yeah, something will just go off somewhere.
So salt is an experience, a culinary experience, and not a functional activity. Yeah. Okay, my last question. And we talked about expansion, we talked about pastry, and we talked about you went to that culinary school. Are we ever going to see salt go beyond pastries and, you know, give us something to...
I actually, on the side, sometimes, like before the children came, I used to cook for people. So those are people that know. I have a particular client who you know. She will ask me for the weirdest things, like, but you know, because she's a very nice person, I would do it. I'll go out of my way and make those things. So I have clients who I do that for. But in the future, yes, you know, I have big dreams on what I want to do, but then, you know, it's a very difficult one.
We should have a Michelin star salt restaurant in Nigeria.
In Nigeria,
yes. In Lagos.
Yes, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing too, yes. That would be great. Modupe, thank you very much for coming on Techturks. It was a great conversation, and I wish you great success in the future.
Thank you so much.